Hello, and welcome to Geek Philosophy. So today's going to be our first podcast episode. I have Clay with me today,
Yep.
Donald for Geek Philosophy, and Clay, welcome to the Geek Philosophy family.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you're going to see a lot more from us. Clay will be doing a couple of reviews of his own on the Geek Philosophy channel, so glad to have him on board. On today's podcast, we're going to just wrap up all the things that happened in geek culture in the last week or so. So, if you're a big Pokemon fan, you might have saw a trailer that looked really exciting last Thursday, I think.
Yep.
And it was the announcement that we finally thought was going to happen. Pokemon coming to the Switch, and the first two games are going to be called Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. I saw the trailer. It did exactly what Pokemon does every time. It gets me excited, and then leaves me with questions afterwards on how things are going to go. So, the graphics look amazing.
Yeah, it's I guess just a updated version of what we've been used to the past couple of games.
Yeah,
which
it
isn't a bad thing.
looks like it's going to be Kanto region.
Yeah,
It looks like it's going to be Kanto region, so it's kind of like, the second remake?
Yeah,
We've had a remake of Red and Blue before with Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Right. So this is more of a remake of Yellow, I guess, more than anything.
Yeah.
With having the Pokemon follow you. I think it looks great. Again, there's a lot of questions that'll be answered next week at E3, but I think right now I'm cautiously optimistic. And I'm a huge Pokemon fan. We were talking, I think, with the exception of the two most recent games in the Alola region and Black and White 1 and 2. Those are the only ones that I have not played all the way through. And I'm waiting to see what other details they give. I'm a big fan of all the Pokemon games. I'm reasonably excited about Pokemon Go. I stopped playing for about a year and a half or so. But my concern is how they fuse those two together.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, because I think they're finally utilizing the Switch. Now, if I look at the Switch versus the other two consoles, Nintendo hasn't been strong on graphics. That's really been a battle between Xbox and PlayStation. They always want to battle out, like, who has the better graphics. But Nintendo, to me, has always focused on the gameplay.
Oh, yeah. They gave up on the graphic fight, I think, after GameCube.
Yeah, and they focused on the gameplay, and they made it like, all right, what's the point in having a gaming system without a whole bunch of fun games? And I think that's what they've mastered. Nintendo has kept doing that, and I think the Switch is just the ultimate combination of what they do best, and that's really making a console game and also making a portable game. And now we're taking Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and taking it to the next level and saying, all right, we're going to merge it with mobile. That's the part that's interesting to me. How is this mobile game going to go? Because Pokemon Go was a very innovative idea. It's really taking that augmented reality and saying, hey, kids, let's go out and play in the real world. And you can catch Pokemon in the real world. But it lost its fizz very quickly at the beginning.
Right. I played nonstop for the first 2 months that it was out, and then I kept it on my phone, but I did not play between then, and I re-downloaded it when the trailer last week.
I don't know if it's the same problem with other mobile games. A lot of mobile games is constant cash grabs. Like, you kind of have to milk the pocket to keep playing a mobile game the way you want to play it.
But I don't think that... I think they handled it well. It's just that, I
think the Pokestops helped.
Right.
From being too much of a cash grab, because now you were going to see historical sites. People were setting up in libraries and everything. So the Pokestops helped it, but there was still a little bit of a money element there that can drain your wallet a little fast.
I'm 100% against microtransactions. I've never spent a penny on a microtransaction, a cell phone or otherwise. I think it's you could argue that it's okay for mobile. I'm not a fan of it, but I think it's a really terrible thing for mainstream.
I'm not a fan of it for the after effect, because we are talking about kids, and mostly kids don't have jobs. Someone's wallet's getting hurt.
Right.
And we've heard the horror stories of, this whole bunch of charges was on my account, and then we found out it was a kid. Right. And he just spent $4,000 without even knowing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. As it stands now with what we've heard so far, I'm probably not going to get it, just because unless if they take that traditional grinding, leveling up aspect out of it, like every other Pokemon game has had, and they make it more like Pokemon Go on the cell phone, I'll pass on it, and that sucks, because I really want to play a Pokemon game, but we've been told that there's a core Pokemon game coming out next year, and I'll hold off on that. I don't have a Switch yet, and I really want one, but
so normally when the new Pokemon game come out, I find an excuse to get the new system.
That's exactly
just so I can play the game, and my excuse this time was going to be my daughter. I was going to say, my 3-year-old daughter wants to Switch.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll wait till next week and figure that out.
But the concept is great. To have a console game you can play on the TV. Mm-hmm. After you're done, if you want to move it, you can go ahead and take it on the road. You can marry it with yourself. It's a lot of good elements in there. Mm-hmm. I just don't know how they really marry up yet. But I guess we'll really find out next week on E3 as E3 starts this Sunday.
Yeah, stay tuned to the channel too. We'll have a little follow up on that.
Yes, we will. Because no way we can be a channel that talks about geek stuff and not talk about E3 at all. That's just blasphemy.
It's like Christmas. Yeah.
So, well, that kind of segues me into the next thing. What are you most excited for E3?
If you had asked me a month ago, I'd say Pokemon. And but like I said, I'm still waiting to see how it goes. But right now, I'm excited for Nintendo's video. They don't really have the big shows like the other two have, but I'm excited to see what Nintendo has to offer. Really, the biggest thing that I'm holding out for is Bethesda. I'm a diehard Fallout fan. Yeah. I've played just about all of the games all the way through. I guess Fallout 76. That's one that if it is a traditional Fallout game,
I'll say it's a little weird because we got leaked images online, mm-hmm. but really no plot or anything yet, right?
But just the trailer, and the trailer. If you just saw the trailer, it would imply that it takes place entirely inside of the vault. But I have a feeling that they're holding that off for the big reveal, because last go around when they announced Fallout 4, they put that trailer up front, and you got to see Boston, and you got to see a lot of aspects of the game, and then they talked about it. Mm-hmm. And I hope that this was just a proper teaser trailer. You only get to see you get a vague sense of what the game might be about. Now that's another one. If they decide to switch that up and make that into a Fallout Shelter, but in a big 3D version, I'll skip it. I don't want that. I want a core Fallout game. I played Fallout Shelter for a while on my phone. I got tired with it and then dropped it. So that's what I'm holding out for. I'd also, again, with Bethesda, I'd love to see a follow-up to Doom, maybe. Doom 2. I was a big fan.
There has been a lot of talk about Doom lately, and not just video games, but even movies. Talking about restarting that.
Yeah, the movie, I don't know, it's straight to DVD. It's probably going to be better than the Rock one. The one with Dwayne Johnson in it.
Rock has his acting chops up now since then. Well, that was like one of his, I think that was, Scorpion King was his first role? Was that
and that was shortly after. My thing was, the Doom movie from years ago was a train wreck. It was, they say, it's going to be Doom. But only in name. It's not going to be demons. It's not going to be the UAC. The environment that you're used to. They're aliens instead. And then you had that stupid first-person camera view for a part of the movie. I don't know. So this movie could absolutely be better.
Could be.
It just may not have the production value that we're hoping. But I would love to see. So going back a few years, the follow-up Doom 4 was stuck in production hell. It was going to be a follow-up to Doom 3. And then they ended up scrapping it because it was basically Call of Duty Doom. It didn't feel like a Doom game. So they lost that whole remake of Doom 2 Hell on Earth, and they brought it back to the more recent 2016 Doom, kind of a reboot of the franchise. But if you play through the whole game, you get a sense of a timeline and maybe multiple dimensions and things like that. I would like to see a proper Doom 2 announced at E3 too, but Bethesda in general. Bethesda, and then we'll wait, I think it's Tuesday for Nintendo. Those are the ones I'm most excited about. What about you?
I'm looking forward to see what the Rocksteady has for Superman. So Rocksteady has done the Batman Arkham games and so forth. I want to see what they can do with Superman. We've never really had a good Superman video game.
I own Superman 64, and I'm not exactly proud of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There has never been a good.
And if you can do that, if you can do some like you did with Arkham, because I think Batman Arkham did revitalize Batman games.
Mm-hmm.
Beforehand, it was a little bit shaky. It had the right format and everything. The story was great, all the way to making a real trilogy and then even a prequel. But I want to see what they can do with Superman, and if they can do Superman and then do the same thing and make it more of a trilogy with a great story and so forth, because the same problem people have with Superman movies is what can be solved with a Superman video game, like having real villains to fight.
Yeah,
like we never really see Superman fight except in Man of Steel, where he like threw down.
Yeah,
and we got a lot of flack for that, and afterwards you still have this Lex Luthor villain who you can't really punch him in the face.
Yeah, so
you're Superman, you can't punch him in the face. If you flick him, he's dead.
So that's the other thing that I was wondering was, and I don't remember which one it was, but if I remember correctly, there was a Superman game, I think in the PlayStation 2 era, that was interesting because they, instead of having a health meter for Superman, because supposedly he's invincible, although we know from comics that's not necessarily true depending on who he's fighting, there was a health meter for the city or the people that you're trying to save. And I thought that was an interesting aspect. You know, if it...
I vaguely remember that game. I think the flying mechanics were like way off.
That aspect was interesting. Really, everything else was kind of garbage on it. But you know, they've never made a decent game. But at least, unlike Superman 64, you weren't just flying through rings the entire game.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I don't know. I think that could be really interesting. If there's anybody who can do it, I think Rockstar.
I think Rocksteady is the best place to do it. And that kind of leads us to our next topic. Article came out this week. So GameStop is going to start, looks like they're going to start experimenting with carrying comic books.
Yeah.
All right. So I have very mixed feelings on this.
Me too.
Mainly because I think it's great in this aspect. Now those places that don't really have local comic book shops, because local comic book shops are getting harder and harder to do. The ones that are out there now, they've made it a haven for geeks, and they have that local business coming. I think it's very hard to manage and keep a comic book shop now, a local comic book shop. So the places that don't have a local comic book shop, now you have your GameStop that you can rely on. Mm-hmm. But in the last couple of years, I felt like GameStop has been suffering a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't see them sticking around much longer. I mean, in all honesty, any used video game shop I think is going to have a really hard time, especially unless you're dealing in classic games and things. Something that would be a collector's item. I'm not going to go into a GameStop and pay $4 less for a game that's used when I could just get it brand new and know that there's nothing wrong with it.
I think the other part is too that we kind of made a joke on the whole selling to GameStop. You can come in with literally $500 worth of things, and you get $2 for it.
Right. Yeah, I stopped going. I think the last time I went to a GameStop to trade anything in for any amount of money was probably 2010 or something like that.
I think I go in for GameStop for premieres.
Sure, it's great if you want to reserve a game and you want a physical copy of it.
But even that is getting to the point where we're creating consoles with more space, so you can download directly if you want to.
Right.
You do have Amazon who can get it to you that day, no hassle, and Amazon's kicking everyone's butt out here in these streets. It's got Walmart, who used to be a giant, on its like up against the wall, up against the ropes.
Yep.
So I don't know if this is a play for GameStop to revitalize their shops.
I can't imagine. I mean, there can't be but so much markup on a comic book. I think the bottom line, the best thing to remember is if you want a comic book, if you're a fan, just Google, see if there's a proper local comic book store near you. Go to that. If you absolutely don't have that as an option, then you can use GameStop. Sure, but I know there are
if you're out in the boonies,
right,
Canada, Harry, New York, you know who I'm talking to. Where it's like the closest store is like an hour and a half away. Yeah, you might need it there, but like metros and so forth, like real big cities, even Richmond, I don't see GameStop really getting that much out of selling comic books.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I know being here in Richmond, when I lived right in downtown and went to VCU, I had, my local comic book shop right on VCU's campus. I had my own little bin there. They knew, when the books came in, they knew which ones I wanted reserved. They put it in there for me. I'd go and pick them up once a week.
That's just the thing about local places. Like, you get that conversation. You get
right.
a safe haven. And I get if GameStop is trying to make... Because they're trying to be the geek plaza of all geekdom. Like, we see the Funko Pops up there. We see anime shirts. We see all these things geek-related, except for comic books. That really was the only thing missing.
Right. I mean, it makes sense if they want to do that, but it's not anything that's going to save their business. And I think we as consumers need to make sure that if there's an option to support a local shop, do that. If you live in the boonies, you don't have that as an option, then go and support the publishers no matter what. I think that GameStop has a lot of other problems that they're going to have to worry about. Dealing with a lot of products that have razor thin margins for them to make money off of.
Yeah.
So
I want to know what the markup. I want to know what the margin is on those Funko Pops and so forth. Like,
those might be some of the higher markups that they have, but when you think about
that has to be like 45% margin. Mm-hmm. It has to be.
But when you think about a video game, an actual piece of software or even hardware, if you go in, like I reserved my, it was basically at the time a Fallout 4 machine. I reserved my Xbox One so that I could get the Fallout 4 edition. And that, I believe, was the last time I went into a GameStop. Like I said, it was probably 2010 since I've actually gone in and turned in older games that I had.
I gave up on working with them to try to make money, or because you're either going to get stipped on trying to make some cash, or you're going to get store credit. And the only time you want store credit is if you see a game coming out and you want to reserve it. Like, I don't see the point in going to them and even talking to them, because it's not even negotiable. You can't even barter. Be like, let's. I'm bringing you a brand new. Nothing wrong with it. PlayStation 4 hasn't been open, and we pay like $300-$400 for it. You're gonna give me $50?
Right. And not only that,
store credit.
And then you have the people who are working the registers, where they're forced to give you the whole rundown of, you have these games coming up. Would you like to reserve them? And they, by their job, that they have to actually list off whatever titles for that week that they're trying to push, and that's where they get their extra points. It's all about tacking on different things, and I don't know.
And let's face it, GameFly stuck it to them.
Yeah, but even now, GameFly, I think, is going to start having problems with things like the new services offered by Xbox and PlayStation.
That's why, let's face it, PlayStation Plus, all Xbox Live, they're trying to be competitive just to keep them relevant. And maybe we'll see some more stuff out of E3 next week, but that was interesting to me, GameStop moving into the comic book area. I just hope I pray it doesn't affect local comic book shops. Because again, the people that are going to the local comic book shop, they want that local feeling. They want that talking and so forth with the realtor and seeing. And I don't see GameStop even looking at GameStop store, I don't see the real estate in there to house a large amount
stacked
of
on top of each other. I think I don't know where they're going to put it all.
Get rid of the Nintendo Game Boy section.
Well, that's, I guess, if you're trying to put a positive spin on it, we could look at it as GameStop is maybe a more inviting atmosphere for parents. So if you have a kid and they want a particular comic book, or you're already in GameStop and they see the comic book, that's probably a good thing for Marvel and DC and everybody.
That is more of an impulse buy
right.
for GameStop than it is a planned purchase.
Right. But then, that maybe that's how a kid gets introduced to comics. And then once they start on a deeper dive, then they can go and visit their comic book store. So it could be a positive thing. I don't foresee them in any way adversely affecting the local comic book shop.
I don't see how they manage it. Like, you got new comics this week, and then you got last week's comics, and then you've got about 17, 20 titles per two major publishers, Marvel and DC. We're not even getting into IDW or Dark Horse, even Vertigo. I don't even think you have that much real estate in there to house it.
I don't think you'll see anything but the top sellers in a GameStop. It's got
to be like top 5 from each one.
Right.
Literally Batman, Superman, Justice League, Captain America, Wolverine. It's got to be like the top 5 of each one.
Right. You're not going to be able to go into a GameStop and get some obscure publishing from an independent publisher that people, a kid down the street is going to know about it. It's going to be Batman, Superman, all the big ones.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of that, we have Spawn. Now we've heard the casting for Jamie. Jamie Foxx is officially going to be Spawn in the Spawn reboot. I didn't have a problem with the first Spawn.
The one from the 90s.
It was of its time. Like, you can say graphics wise and so forth, there was some problems, even special effects, but other than that, it was a product of its time, and it did its mission. Michael Jai White, I love him as that character.
Yeah, I think up until that time, I think it would be difficult to find a better comic book adaptation. I mean, we're talking about the days of pre-Spider-Man, pre-X-Men. I think this was 97?
I want to say 96, 97.
Yeah, so somewhere around there. And it was also the first movie, I remember way back at Blockbuster Video when that came out, and seeing that it was the first movie I had ever seen that had a PG-13 and an R-rated version of it. And so that was interesting too. It was kind of the director's cut aspect. I was not, because I was rather young when that first came out, I was not a big fan. I didn't really know much of the backstory, but going back and looking at things, I think they did a heck of a job for what they had to work with, and CG and everything like that.
Yeah, no, I was never a big Spawn fan. There was the HBO series on television, and that was late night. Like, in other words, you had to be sneaking away from your parents to watch that. And there was a lot of blood and gore, so I was never really a big Spawn fan. I know of him. I'm not that big of a fan of the character just because the storyline is just a little too dark for my taste. I like to go to my comics and get a little bit cheery. I like some realistic. I like some politics. But sometimes I think that comic goes just dark just to be dark.
Yeah. And I can't say that I'm not a diehard Spawn fan. I can't name off all the characters or anything, but I actually really enjoy it. I like the darker aspect of things, a grittier storyline. It's not all bright and sunny, and I really enjoyed the movie. As I got older, I got into some of the comics, but so far, what I know about this new movie with Jamie Foxx, I'm up in the air about it. Everything that I've heard so far, and I know a lot of it's just rumors, but I believe that it's McFarlane, right?
Yeah, Todd McFarlane, the creator, is going to be directing it.
And so, from what I've heard, he stated that this would be more of a horror movie and less of a superhero movie. And some of what's been said online, and I believe it was from him, was that you may not even get to see that superhero shot that you're used to. This may just be Spawn lurking in the shadows. And I don't know. I mean, it
You
could
know
be
what?
good, but
It might be good to have something different because we played out the superhero landing and Deadpool and so forth. Like
Yeah.
everyone's,
it's really
we
rough
know
on the knees.
we know there's tropes to superhero movies, and with now especially we have more and more coming out. We're gonna see those tropes over and over again sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a little bit annoying, and I know Hollywood, certain actors in Hollywood have been a little annoyed with so many blockbusters and superhero movies coming out every year. But I don't know if I need it to be a horror movie. Like sometimes when creators get to be in charge of their creation, it can go a little wild.
Yeah.
They can, because what you have in your head and all the philosophies and themes that you want, if you try to shove that down people's throats without thinking about the audience, it
Right.
can get weird. It
But
can get muggy.
It's kind of like if you're a big fan of a particular band and you've listened to all their albums over and over and over again, and you know exactly how the song should go, and then you go to your first concert and you hear that same artist kind of taking their own liberties with their own material, but it doesn't sound the same. You know, they might play a song a different way. It's you know, it's their material. They can do what they want with it, but it might not be what you were expecting.
Yeah, it's like a balancing act. Sometimes you do need other people in the room to kind of put you in check. And I think the director, sometimes it's great for the director to direct his own writing, and sometimes it's best for a writer and a director to be separate, and they just talk and try to get the feel, and they make creative decisions together. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to be, but I have to say, I think one of my favorite Marvel movies is responsible for this double genre of superheroes now. Because Winter Soldier to me was the first one that really stepped out and said,
Right.
all right, I'm not just a superhero movie. Because that was like literally a superhero movie and James Bond mashed into one. Now you have two genres.
Right.
And Marvel has kept going with that philosophy of, all right, it needs to be more just a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
You got Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a comedy, space opera, superhero movie. Then you had Ant-Man, underrated. It's a mug. I don't know why that movie was so underrated, but I think that was one of the better ones that went ahead and said, yo, this is a superhero movie and a heist movie.
Right.
Like, that was the closest thing you're going to get to Ocean's 11 in a superhero movie.
Right. I enjoyed it, but I do have two friends in particular, and if you're watching this, you know who you are, who absolutely hated it, who told me that I shouldn't even bother seeing it to begin with. And
it was a good movie.
Yeah, everybody's got their own opinion on it. It was different than a lot of the others, but I appreciated it for that reason. But yeah,
and I'm not going to say Ant-Man's in my top 3, but
no,
it doesn't need to be in my bottom 5 either. There's other movies that need to be in the bottom 5. So, and I think X-Men's New Mutants is going to be that horror feel too.
Yep. Now it's pushed back by like a year. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I
think it was pushed back because of this whole Fox and Disney deal.
That, and my understanding is they added an entirely new character into the movie during reshoots.
They created a new character, or they grabbed one from the comics?
No, I don't remember who it was, but they grabbed one from the comics, is my understanding. And then they inserted this new character, so between splicing the old movie up and then doing reshoots, they were going to be adding in someone new. I don't remember who it was, but I remember that being one of the many reasons why it was bumped out. I think it was an entire year.
Yeah, it was pushed back because it was originally supposed to be coming out this year.
I think it was supposed to come out in May, past May.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out this year.
April
They pushed it back. We had the trailer. We had Marcy from Game of Thrones being Wolfbane. Like, we knew some of the characters. We knew some of the casting. But for it being pushed back around the time that it was literally after a month after they announced that Disney was making a play for Fox,
right,
for Fox properties. And if you don't know what we're talking about, Disney went ahead, or Fox was selling their entertainment properties pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So anything in their movies, in their movie library, television library, streaming, all that entertainment stuff was up for sale. And I think the original bid from Disney was $52.4 billion.
Something like that.
I want to say $52.4 billion, and there was a stipulation in the clause saying if you back out, you owe us $1 billion. So now the bid is being played, is actually being viewed by antitrust, because we're getting into close to monopoly stuff now.
Oh yeah, it's I think they said it's the largest acquisition of any company in history.
It can be, and then Comcast decided to be jerks and throw in say, hey, we'll give you $60 billion in cash.
Right. That could be a whole mess.
Oh, that's that dude in the corner, like, I'm just gonna throw gasoline on this fire just to see what happens. I don't think Comcast really wants it.
I don't know. Either way, I know that say what you will about all the big companies. If not only is the inner geek in me wanting Disney to have it just so we can have an almost perfect Marvel universe on screen, but I mean Comcast is consistently one of the most hated companies in the United States and probably the world, just customer service and everything. So yeah, I hope because that would be then if that were to go through, then you're talking about NBC and Universal owning the rights to the X-Men movies. And I don't know, I just think that I want to see one big family of X-Men.
I know we want to see that, but we have to look at the bigger picture. We're talking about everything in that portfolio. We're talking Predator, we're talking Simpsons, we're talking Family Guy, we're talking all of it, not just the X-Men, which X-Men is a big part. And I don't think, and from what I'm hearing, Disney really wants it for the streaming. Because I think Hulu's a part of that deal too, and
the majority stake for Hulu.
Yeah, majority stake for Hulu. So Disney is working on their own platform to get into the streaming wars, which we're gonna have a separate video on that because that's interesting as I don't know what. But them having a lot of these like sports channels and getting more into the streaming internationally, I think is where Disney's like, I can make my money back in 6 years tops.
Sure.
Easy.
I think it would be nice if we could just get this over with. Disney could have the MCU. We'd worry about Spider-Man later. Maybe Sony Studio.
I don't think they need to worry about Spider-Man. I don't need Disney to own everything. Disney owns a lot. I don't need him to own everything.
I don't need them to own everything.
The mouse is too strong.
It would be nice for them to at least have every property that Marvel owns.
I like to do like that now. We'll rent you Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's not bad. But as far as the others, a lot of people were concerned about Disney owning something like Deadpool. But Disney also owns a lot of much smaller studios, and they
Deadpool is still going to be the Merc with the mouth. He's still going to be rated R.
Right. If they're smart, if they want to make any money at all.
Disney's looking here and saying, we know how strong Deadpool is. They literally moved Avengers 3 up, 2 weeks? Up a week? Because it was getting too close to Deadpool's opening.
Right.
And they knew Deadpool was going to be a threat.
Yeah, and I think if there's any franchise, if this merger goes through with Fox and Disney, if there's any aspect of the current X-Men universe that rolls over into the Disney MCU, it's going to be Deadpool. You might not see Deadpool in an Avengers movie, but if they were to scrap what's already happened...
If they buy all this and then do not put Deadpool in a movie, they lost a lot of money.
Well, I'm sure they'll have Deadpool in a movie, but for God's sake, don't change the casting. Like Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is going to be part of that deal. Like, I'm going to sign. Disney's going to sign the dotted line. Yes, I get Deadpool, and it must be played by Ryan Reynolds for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
we're going to see an old man Deadpool in the future. Like, he's going to play him for the rest of his life. And honestly, I'm starting to think Ryan Reynolds just needs to go ahead and write the whole X-Men universe, because this last Deadpool movie. Every Deadpool movie has corrected a mistake that X-Men has done.
Right. And now you have what I'm hoping for, because now you have Cable on one side, with time traveling aspects, and then you have Doctor Strange in the MCU. I mean, they could easily just, Doctor Strange reaches through a portal, grabs Deadpool, and pulls him into that side. Leave the rest of the universe, or at least, everybody that's not been in a Deadpool movie. And recast them if you want. There's been a lot of great ideas for that.
And then we
That's
can
probably
literally get the meta jokes, like literally Deadpool's commentary about how it's different studios instead of different universes.
Right.
But honestly, the last Deadpool movie, I gotta do a review on it. It was amazing. This is a spoiler if you don't want to hear this. They fixed Juggernaut right. They did Juggernaut. They gave him justice. It was not the X-Men 3 Last Stand Juggernaut.
No, was it Vinnie Jones? Was that his name?
No.
And they even alluded to the fact that Charles is the half brother of.
Mm-hmm. They actually talk
Juggernaut.
About it. Like it's the real origin.
It's not like in X-Men 3. I think Deadpool and Charles Xavier are in the same area, in the same scene, and they don't even really acknowledge each other. I don't know. It's been years since I've seen X-Men 3.
Close this door. But it's Deadpool. I really give my hats off to Ryan. He does his research. He's a fan of the character. He loves the character, and you see that in his performance and in his writing. Mm-hmm. So whatever they do with this merger, if it goes down, I think it's coming. I think the decision is going to be made like June 12th.
Yeah, they said it would take about a whole year. I can't remember when all this started, but it's been.
Well, I think the antitrust is going to make their decision by June 12th.
Okay.
So
we'll know next week.
We'll find out if it's going to be a go, and then after that, it's going to take a year to year and a half for the merger to be. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's kind of weird talking about this because when that happens, people's jobs are getting affected. We're talking major studios, and that makes it a little bit harder for some of the smaller studios to really be able to contend. Not for, when I say smaller studios, to contend for that dollar. Because at the end of the day, the consumer only has enough money for something.
Sure.
They have that dollar. The question is, what percentage of that dollar am I going to get? And with Marvel doing two big hits, third one, I still think Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be a third hit. I think it's going to be a turkey. Oh, yeah. That's what, 70% of the Geek's dollar right there?
Yeah. And I think that if it goes through and Disney ends up absorbing it, I personally think that it would be a good thing for those geeks who want to see the movies. They want to see the comic books brought to life. I think a lot of things would work themselves out. But going to what you're saying about jobs, the biggest worry obviously is when you have two massive studios like that merging. There's a lot of redundancy, so a lot of the people on the ground level are going to be affected. As always, the people at the top of the pyramid are going to make off with a lot of cash, and everybody else that's further down is going to be affected. I think
that's why Comcast threw out that bid of $60 billion cash, because when you're doing this kind of merger and so forth, cash is very appealing. I don't think the $52.4 billion that original Disney did was all cash. It was some stocks, some properties. So with that being said, the cash does look appealing, especially for what Fox wants to do. They want to focus more on their news side. So that cash, they can just take that money and just liquidate right into their news. But I think after hearing that, Disney is working on an all cash offer too, to either max or go up on that. So the mouse has money.
No doubt about that.
He's gonna make it work. But yeah, all right. I think we talked enough about the mouse.
Yeah.
There's some other things coming up too, and well, let's first get into CW, because we talked about Disney, we talked about Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
DC, Warner Brothers, they are still trying to be a contender, which I think, and then correct me if I'm wrong, I did hear a rumor that if the Comcast deals goes through, they have to sell like a portion, like AT&T or something like that. And I think if they did sell, I heard that like the DC properties were potential sell point.
That's my understanding. So we'll have to see. I'm trying not to even think about that being an option. It's weird
to think about these options, and then we have so much things planned. DC has a lot of things planned. They've already started filming in DC for Wonder Woman 2. We got a little this week. We did get a little clips. What was it? 1980. Looks like 1984.
Right. That was the date tacked onto it. So I don't know.
So it's different from what we thought. I swear it was going to be World War II. But if it's in the 80s, that's a little bit closer to our generation now.
Right.
A little bit closer to present days. And we have Kristen Wiig playing Cheetah, which I think it's a fascinating pick. I'm not going to say it's a great pick. It's interesting to me because I want to see how she plays. Because I've seen her play a serious role in Skeleton Twins. I've seen her play comedic roles all the time. So I would like to see what element she brings to a villain.
Yeah,
as powerful as Wonder Woman.
Sure, I think she's a great actress, and I've learned to keep my mouth shut on strange casting choices because I was one of the first people to get really upset when I heard that some guy from the Teenage Love movies was cast as Joker, and and so I was like, Heath Ledger, really? I mean, 10 Things I Hate About You. I don't want to see. That's a ridiculous idea. And then it ended up being one of the greatest casting choices of all time. Same thing with, people can hate on him, but I did the same thing when they cast Ben Affleck as Batman, an older Batman. I got really upset, and then I actually enjoyed it just as much personally.
I think the Batman playing a role is what made like Batman vs Superman watchable.
Right.
I think that was a lot of it that made it watchable. Just seeing him. His physique, his method, his acting, I think, is really what made that movie be done right. And I feel like they kind of ruined it with Justice League a little bit. Like, we made such a character in Batman vs. Superman, and then you kind of went 180.
I like the darker tone of Batman vs. Superman, and then I felt like Justice League was trying to be too much like an Avengers movie.
Joss Whedon came in, and as much as I love him, he does great work. He has a signature.
Yeah, but I digress. Going back to Wonder Woman and with Kristen Wiig, I think my question is not with the casting of Kristen Wiig. I'm sure she'll do a great job. My question is how they're going to translate that character from the comics into a movie. What is she going to look like? Is it going to be CG? Is it going to be some sort of combination of that and prosthetics? I don't know. The character, when you look at the character in the comics...
It's a feral character. I would have to say, if you can make a Wookiee look as real as a Wookiee does, you can do prosthetics and so forth with Kristen Wiig without relying too much on CG. I think the audience is starting to get a little annoyed with too much CG.
Oh, absolutely. Especially after Justice League. And I mean, really my biggest problem with Batman versus Superman, which I know I'm in the minority, but I loved Batman versus Superman, the extended edition and everything. I was a big fan of all the source material, but with that, my biggest gripe was the way Doomsday looked. He looked like an animated character, and the fact that they spoiled it in like the second trailer. Yeah. That would have been amazing to see. When you're sitting down in the theaters, you had no idea that was coming. And so then it happens.
So Chris Pine has already been seen, has set photos.
Yep.
He's going to be in the movie. I don't know how he's going to be because he did die in the last movie. Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it. All right. Spoiler alert shouldn't be for anything that's like less than 6 months old. It's been on DVD for like 6 months now, right? Over 6 months.
At least, yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, shame on you. I'm not even calling spoiler alert on that one. But yeah, he did die in the first Wonder Woman movie. I want to see what they're doing. Is it going to be flash? I feel like it can't be flashbacks because we saw the whole movie was them interacting with each other for the first time. It wasn't like this was years upon years, unless they're going to tell us it was in this next movie. But it didn't seem like it was years upon years.
Well, we have to remember too, in a comic book movie, oftentimes when you see a character die, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're dead. And in Wonder Woman, we saw the plane explode. We didn't see him die. Sure. There was no death scene. It was just him in the plane and then an open shot of the plane exploding. So who knows? And then it becomes an idea of what if he was somehow saved, if he avoided dying, what helped him in that? Are they going to go on some sort of weird tangent? For a long time, people were wondering if he was going to be a Green Lantern, and are they going to somehow tie that into the Lanterns? Did the Lantern save him? Did he become a Lantern?
God, no, please don't. That's a horrible story. That's a cop out, and I can go on another tangent about deaths in comic books and translating the movies, but I'm not going to. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I have a question for you. So we're getting into filming. I think it comes out 2020, 2019, 2020. I want to say 2020.
Maybe. I was thinking it was next year, but I don't know.
It could be next year. Right? Fact check me. It might be next year, but even if it's next year, trailer wise, should we reveal how the Cheetah looks?
Not in the first one. Maybe give a hint in the second one. I don't know.
I think you can get away with not revealing. We already know she's in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get away with not revealing how the character looks at all.
I absolutely think they can get away with it, but I don't think they're going to. There's this terrible trend in trailers to just show you everything up front. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but I think the worst thing happening right now in the world of trailers, this trend of showing you the title of the movie at the very beginning of the trailer. I enjoy, like, if I find a trailer online, something just came out, and I wanted to show it to friends, I enjoy throwing that up on the Chromecast on my TV and letting, my wife or my friends that are over watching it guess and see what's happening as it happens. I hate how, if I put it up on the TV and then it says, the title of the movie and you know what's coming. There's some fun in the anticipation, both in finding out what the trailer is and then getting to the movie and finding out what the story's about. So, yes, we want to get there as soon as possible and see what the movie's going to be about, but save most of it. I want to be totally surprised.
Yeah, I think trailers have been showing way too much as far as like the action, and then you get to the movie and you be like, well, this is what I saw in the trailer, and like I could have just watched the trailer and been good.
Right, and they also run into problems like I know we've talked about it before, but with like Rogue One. They launched that trailer, I think it was like the teaser trailer was about a year out, and by the time they got to the movie and you got in and watched the movie, they had so many reshoots that about half of the first trailer or two wasn't even in the movie. Now they corrected that, and a lot of people were wondering what happened with Han Solo, because I think it was a month and a half before the movie launched, and they still didn't have a trailer for it. But they got everything right. Things made sense. You saw a little bit in the trailer, and then you went to go see the movie. So just hold off. If you want to give a proper teaser trailer, give us a teaser. Don't show us the whole thing a year in advance.
Yeah, let's just honestly, if I have any advice for DC in this movie, just don't show her. Let us go the whole way to opening day, and that be the time we see her. Which brings us to the next thing. So Jared Leto has been confirmed. I think it's been confirmed. He is getting a Joker solo movie.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. But I enjoyed Leto's Joker. I mean, there's some things that aren't great about it.
I don't know if society is ready for Jared Leto's Joker. I don't think they're ready. It got really weird. Suicide Squad. He didn't even have that much film time. If you look at the whole movie.
That's like 5 minutes out of the whole movie.
Yeah. And I heard more about what he did behind the scenes than what he actually did on the set. He got really weird with his co-stars and so forth, with his method acting, where it got to a point where like people I think they had to bring a psychiatrist on board.
Yeah.
To make sure he wasn't going too crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I think
Jared is a method actor. He likes to get into full character and stay in character. And Joker, we saw what happened with Heath Ledger. He did the same thing, and he had more screen time.
Yeah,
he really played the role, and he got so dark. That happened.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed the performance. The only thing I could really, besides the obvious writing issues and editing issues in Suicide Squad, I enjoyed the Joker, the different take on it. You can't say that he copied anybody because he did his own thing. I could have done without some of the ridiculous tattoos, like damaged on his forehead and all that, or wherever it was. But but I enjoyed it, and I think that they could really do a great job with it. Especially, I think he's involved in the making of the movie too.
Yeah, he's going to be executive producer, so he's going to be heavily involved. What do you make this? Do you make this like a mafia, like Godfather type story of him rising up? Do you make this what he's doing out? Will you see him come in with a grand scheme? Like, I don't see how you can really do this, at least without Batman. Batman has to be involved in this some way, shape, or form.
Sure. Well, what if you did a Joker versus Batman movie from the standpoint of the Joker? You know, it doesn't have to be. I mean, Batman's getting his own movie.
I think that's the only way you can really make this movie is he has to have something he can go off with, or he's facing off against other. Because Joker in the comics has been known, he does not play well with others.
Right.
Him kind of facing off against the Penguin or the Riddler. Well, I think Riddler is like the one villain. I think the comic book came out last year, Batman Year Zero.
Mm-hmm.
The War of Riddles and Jokes is a very good story, and if they use it as a source material, that's something I'd like to see.
I have no doubt. I think that it will be. I'm almost certain that I will enjoy it. The one thing that concerns me with the overall DC movies coming out of Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers. They're all over the place in planning this out. They're talking about they're going to have this movie, but they're also going to have Joaquin Phoenix playing a prequel movie. But I'm pretty sure Joaquin Phoenix is older than Jared Leto.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that whole thing. Like, just give us a combined universe.
I think their executives get too involved.
Sure, they're people that want to make money, not people that are fans.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with the DC universe. You have way too many cooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It's the simplest way. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, everyone wants to add their 2 cents. Everyone wants to do something to promote something. And it's just it gets weird. So if they take some of the cooks out of the kitchen and let control Jared a little bit, I'm still worried about the cast and the crew. He was doing some
dead rats and things like that,
like pig heads and used condoms. He was getting weird.
Yeah.
So, someone keep a psychiatrist on board just to make sure he's good. But I mean, I think DC is coming out with more villain movies than they have really announced superhero movies. Because Black Adam was announced way before Batman and Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
We finally get some footage of Shazam. Not footage, we've seen some set pictures of Shazam. And the one thing I haven't seen, which I thought I was going to see this week, there's so many trailers that came out this week, yet we did not have an Aquaman trailer.
No, but I mean, they've been talking about that for a while. And the director keeps saying that it's kind of his fault and all. So, I don't know. I mean, I want to see the trailer, but again...
Should that worry fans?
No, I don't think so. Just because there's such a long history of movies putting out a teaser trailer and other trailers a year in advance, and you end up getting a garbage movie.
I think we're in crunch time. This comes out this year.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean,
it's September. I think it comes out September.
Sure.
We haven't seen anything.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I know this is also a bit of a tangent, but to compare it again to something like Han Solo, I really enjoyed Han Solo as a movie, and I know some people didn't, but I know that trailer, the very first trailer for that dropped. It was no more than 2 months ahead of time for the movie.
February, Super Bowl weekend, February.
Somewhere there, yeah. So I mean,
we had 3 months. They didn't release as many trailers.
Yeah.
But they did release at least 3 months. We're getting into our 3 month mark.
Yeah.
Of Aquaman.
We also have. I mean, there's a lot of conventions and everything coming up this week and over the course of the next month or two.
Sure. So when's San Diego Comic-Con? That should be coming up next month.
I think that's typically just a few weeks after E3.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that I'm all about the waiting for the hype right before the movie comes out. Okay. I don't need that long drawn out.
All right, I'm gonna give my prediction. San Diego, they gotta drop a trailer. They have to drop something. Sneak peek something.
And it's not just going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. It's going to be a trailer that drops there and everywhere else.
But they need to drop something at San Diego Comic-Con. And if they don't, and they wait till New York Comic-Con, which I think is October. No,
right.
it's after. It's after the fact.
It's beginning of the fall, I think.
Yes, it's October, and I think this movie's set to be September.
Mm-hmm.
So if they wait till August, I'm gonna have my worries. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna have my worries if they wait till August to show me a trailer. So next couple weeks, y'all gotta drop something.
Yeah.
Like, we already had. The director is the one that directed Fast and Furious. Lee, I forget his full name, but he directed Fast and Furious. We have a good cast. Jason Momoa is a good actor. He was the bright point of the Justice League movie.
I can't imagine them doing Aquaman any other way.
No, I can't. He did a great job. Made me believable. But the problem is the character, I think, doesn't have as much clout as other characters. Like, Aquaman has been seen as a joke. He's by no means a joke character.
Mm-hmm.
He is the real deal. He's literally almost as strong as Superman. He's telepathic. He has some real powers.
Yeah.
But he's always been seen in pop culture as a joke character.
Yeah, well, I think this is the chance to show otherwise. I mean, you're talking about look at Batman before 1989. Batman was a caricature. There wasn't any serious way to take that, except for fans of some of the darker Miller's comics and but when you see that translated into film, I mean, 1989's Batman wasn't perfect, but I think that it showed what a comic book movie could be, and that was something that nobody had seen a Batman like that. Mainstream audiences had never seen Batman like that, and it turned around the entire franchise. Yeah. Now, I don't know if Aquaman's going to be anywhere near as popular as Batman, but we got to see some parts of Aquaman in the previous films, and everybody seems to like that take. I don't think there's any other way they could do it. It's not going to be some blonde-haired guy, with his underwear on the outside of his pants swimming around in the ocean.
We're not seeing the orange and green theme, but
So I think there's a story to be told there, and I give them the benefit of the doubt in how they're going to be able to.
I give them the benefit of the doubt until San Diego Comic-Con. If they don't drop a trailer at San Diego Comic-Con, they wait till August. Now I'm going to have my doubts. I'm going to go ahead and stick my cane on that one. But speaking of trailers, we had a lot come out this week, and I got a little mini list of ones that got me excited. We got Bumblebee came out.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out. We had Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and then you had Lego Movie 2. So there's a lot to unpack there. That's what I'm saying. We had 4 big trailers come out this week.
Yeah.
And no Aquaman.
Well, I mean, with the ones that you have there, I can tell you right now, we talked about this before, the Bumblebee movie, I think looks better than the past I think all of the Transformers movies, with the exception of the first one. And I think that Transformers 2 was probably the worst movie of all time. It's the last movie that I remember going to see and thinking, not even halfway through it, thinking like, I might just go, like, get up and leave. And it was like they let a 5-year-old ride it, and it was during the writer's strike and all that. But they had time to recover the franchise. The third one was definitely better, and then it kind of tanked after that.
I would say 4 is a little. Age of Extinction is the one that's a little rough to me.
I haven't actually seen anything after 3.
So you got 2 more to watch.
Right. Well, 2 more to consider watching. But no, seeing Bumblebee and
that trailer looked very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the Camaro version of Bumblebee. It looked like it's
old school,
classic. I saw the name of the director, Travis Knight, who he's directed other things in the past, like Caroline and Paranorman.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kid stuff, and even some episodes of like the PJs from 2000s, which was
throwback way back. Yeah.
So I looked at his whole filmography when I looked him up, but he looks like he's genuinely going to do justice by the character.
Yeah.
And I didn't think you can really do that with Bumblebee, honestly.
Yeah, well, I rolled my eyes the first time I heard that they were making the movie, and I just watched the trailer before we filmed this, and I don't know, I'd be willing to give it a shot as long as they keep the ridiculous like humor and borderline racism from especially the second movie.
Racism, sexism, yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, well, sexism too. And it was just it's there's a certain edge that you can ride on, but they crossed over that with a lot of the other movies, but this one seems like it could be fun. I'll give it a chance.
It looks fun. Him having the more classic body look, I think, helps play on my nostalgia a little bit, and I think it looks good. And then you have John Cena in it, which he's been. John Cena might be the second best thing to come out of wrestling. Rock was the best thing that came out of wrestling. I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Well, I'll take the unpopular opinion and just say I have never been a wrestling fan, and I don't understand the appeal of it.
I'm not a wrestling fan either, but those are true actors.
Oh yeah, well you kind of have to be an actor to be in the WWE. It doesn't mean you have to be a good actor, but no, I think you're right. I became a Dwayne Johnson fan, I guess, for the most part after he started acting. He's made a lot of good movies. I think here lately he's been taking everything
he's milking it right now. Yeah. Like there was a point. Okay, so John, when The Rock came out, he had some. He went through his trials. He had some garbage roles.
Yeah.
And then he started learning how to pick his roles, and then he got into the right franchises, and then he became a franchise builder.
Right.
Like if you want a franchise to do well, you throw him in.
Yeah.
And then the last couple movies have still been good, but they're like he's just making the check. Except Skyscraper. I'm on the verge of. I don't want to see it. This might be the first Rock movie.
Oh no,
I haven't seen. I will not see.
I can tell you right now, I'm not going to see it. It looks terrible.
It looks like garbage, and it looks like all right.
It's like Die Hard meets the Towering Inferno.
It's a bad. It looks like a bad version of Die Hard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he made Jumanji something I thought wasn't going to be able to do, like enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm still kind of a purist on that, but yeah.
No one can take Robin Williams' place.
Sure.
But he didn't try to take Robin Williams' place. I don't think no one on that tried to take Robin Williams' place. They just tried to do something different, and it worked. So,
but I think going back to John Cena, I think John Cena
he's getting his acting chops up.
Yeah, and he's
getting
funny.
better. He's getting better and better, and he knows what to play.
Yeah, I like the fact that he seems to be able to see how absurd everything is and kind of joke on himself. And the movie, the name has escaped me, the one with Amy Schumer.
Trainwreck.
Yes, Trainwreck.
Yeah.
Trainwreck I enjoyed that. I thought it was funny. He was hilarious in that. I saw a little more John Cena than I ever wanted to in that movie. But still, he was funny in it, and I think he was probably one of the better parts about that movie.
No, and I haven't seen Blockers. I wanted to see it. I just couldn't. I just didn't have the time to see it. But
that's one to watch on like Prime or Netflix if it comes out. I don't know if I'll drop any amount of money to go see that.
It looks hilarious. The parts that I'm seeing, he looks hilarious in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He's going to be in Bumblebee, so he looks like. I don't know if he's going to be the comic relief. He looks like he's an agent. He's supposed to be a soldier.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like he's going to be the comic relief in this. So I like to see what he does. But his comedy chops have definitely been there, and he's been showing it more. Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So we're actually getting a story that's focusing on Miles Morales.
Which I'm really excited about.
Yeah. So people were very on the fence with Miles Morales, and the reason why this is, if you're not familiar with Miles Morales, Peter Parker is your common Spider-Man in many universes. In one universe, in the Ultimate Universe, was supposed to be like a modern take on comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like what would happen if all these characters were in, like this came out in the 2000s, like were millennials,
right?
Sort of, and they showed Peter Parker going through his awkward phase in the 2000s instead of in the 1970s.
Yeah.
And during that, he actually does die, and there was apparently another kid that was bitten by the same spider and got different powers. Not completely different. He had most of the same ones, but he had some other upgraded powers. And he takes on the mantle, and he is African Latino mixture, biracial, and he's introduced to the comic book community as a replacement for Spider-Man, which is arguably one of the top favorable superheroes. So the thing I do know, comic book readers do not like change.
But this seems to be one of those.
This is one of the ones.
Circumstances, yeah.
It took time, and I think it was the publishing saying we're gonna stick with our guns.
And they made a likable character.
Yeah, they made a likable character, and they stuck with their guns because we see most of the time they make a change, and it lasts for a couple months, or maybe a year, and they switch back.
Right.
They stuck to their guns and said, all right, we're gonna keep this character going, and then even after going, they evolved the character. And now it's like in the comics, he's more like Spider-Man's little brother, which is great. Yeah. So he's got a mentoring thing going on, which is great. But he's a lovable character. He has his own series, comic book series. Now he's getting his own movie, and from what it looks like, they're gonna play on the whole. There's other Spider-Man in other universes, and he's gonna get mentored by one of the older Peter Parkers.
Yeah, and I'll be honest too. I'm actually excited about this. They've been these animated films that they're doing on the side. They never really interested me before, but here in the past couple of years, they've been getting better and better storylines, production.
I think DC has always been better with their animation.
Absolutely.
Animated movies.
Going all the way back to like Mask of the Phantasm and things like that.
Marvel hasn't done well when it comes to animated movies.
Right.
But this one is very flashy. It's very Sony CGI. This might do well, but the trailer did have me a little worried. Like, I think they might go too far down the rabbit hole because they introduced Spider-Gwen in the same trailer.
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of at the end it's saying who are you and Gwen Stacy, like, just that was a weird way. Maybe it was just the editing in the trailer.
It didn't feel like if you had kept it to Spider-Man, Peter Parker, old, and Miles Morales, and then slowly introduce everything else. But to throw her in the mix, I think they were just going for hype appeal. I think they were going for those comic book nerds.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just the way they had her in the trailer that bothered me. I think it could be a lot of fun to have that character in the movie. It just depends on what they do with it. If it feels like she's just there, just to have an extra character in the movie, but if they actually give her a proper storyline within the movie, but given what we know about the plot for this, it makes you wonder how she would be able to be in the movie and have a meaningful storyline. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. But
and for those who don't know, Spider-Gwen, as she's been called in the comic, or by the fan base, this is in an alternate universe where Peter Parker didn't get bitten. It was Gwen Stacy that got bitten. So she got the Spider-Man powers instead of Peter Parker, which is an interesting take, like a very what if story, which Marvel, I think they do very well in their comics. They do what if stories, and you get kind of involved in those what if stories, and you want more, and then you got another universe that pops up. So we'll see. That's the only part that had me a little annoyed, is just to name drop Gwen Stacy in there.
Yeah,
as Spider-Gwen.
I'll chalk that up right now to just the weird editing of the trailer and give it some time. We'll see how the next one does. Maybe if they have a different trailer come out, or even when the movie comes out, we'll see how they're able to incorporate that character into the movie.
Now, the other two trailers that came out, those definitely for my kiddo. Wreck-It Ralph 2. Wreck-It Ralph was a very wholesome story. It was entertaining for what it was. It really brought... The first time we saw like video game characters brought into a property and done pretty well.
Right.
So without being used that much, without feeling like I'm milking you. We had Mario, we had Sonic, we had Zangief in it. Like, we had all these different characters that didn't feel like, oh, they're just throwing these characters in just to milk them. Like, they had meaning behind each one of their roles. So now with the Wreck-It Ralph going into the internet, I feel like we have an Emoji Movie coming up.
I
feel like it's going to be just the same as Emoji Movie, which it was torture to watch Emoji Movie with my daughter. My daughter loved it. I did not. I despised it. It was literally, let me just throw everything that's on my phone, throw it into a movie and say it's cool. Facebook. Oh, Candy Crush. Oh, Twitter.
Right. Well, I'm not a father, so I didn't have to go through that torture. So I'll take your word for it. I have no desire to see.
It's all right. I'll drop my daughter off with you, and you can go see the next one. No, they show in the trailer they have Disney princesses, and we get to see all Disney princesses together, which was very weird.
Yeah.
I didn't know I wanted to see a 3D version of Cinderella from 2D until just now. I'm like, did I need this? I don't think I needed this.
Yeah, I'll pass on all of that. And I think I might also be one of the only people who has never seen The Incredibles. And I know we just got a trailer for Incredibles 2, and a lot of people love those.
Well, that one's countdown. We're countdown time to that one. I think it comes out the 22nd? June 22nd, I think. It's like the same time as Luke Cage. So I'll be doing double duty and watching Incredibles, which was, to me, was the Fantastic Four done right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what that movie was.
That's what I hear a lot of people saying.
Everything you wanted the Fantastic Four to be in that movie. So, very family, very, very knowing what it is and sticking with the time it was set. So I think Incredible 2 is just going to do amazing in this one, because from all the trailers it looks like it's keeping up with the story of family and gender roles and so forth. So it's questioning certain things, and I'm looking forward to that one. Now, Lego Movie 2. I didn't know I needed this one. I thought I didn't need this, but after seeing the trailer and it being continuation and kind of being like post-apocalyptic, not apocalyptic, Everett's still the same way he is, happy-go-lucky, everyone else is sad. I might be entertained by this. I might be able to be like, hey, daughter, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I think if there's any franchise that handles humor that both kids and adults can get a kick out of, the Lego movies and the Lego video games, those do pretty well.
No, they do.
They could be, you could argue that the video games are a bit repetitive, but they're fun enough to ignore that a lot of times.
Because even Lego Movie Batman was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Even with a weird story, it's still entertaining to a degree. So let's see. I mean, you got those trailers coming out, and again, no Aquaman.
We'll get there.
You got a little time left, but which goes into our next thing. Talk about video games. Got James Marsden to play in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
I'll pass.
I don't even want to talk about James, because just to give you an idea, it is going to be live action / CGI animated. I don't know if I need another one of those. Not for the world to play on nostalgia. We got that with the Smurfs, which the first 1 and 2 were horrible. The last one, which wasn't live action, it was just completely CGI, it did well. Take a lesson. Completely CGI. Just if you need to make a Sonic movie. I don't know if we need a Sonic movie.
We don't. And we really didn't need any. I didn't even bother seeing the Smurfs movies. I escaped those. But yeah, we don't need it. It's just them trying to keep a franchise, make some money off of kids, torture for parents, all of that.
Give me a good Sonic game. That's what I need. I don't need a Sonic movie right now.
Yeah,
I need a solid Sonic video game, like
Sonic Mania, and then jump all the way back to what was the one on the Dreamcast. I enjoyed that.
Sonic Adventures.
Yeah, Sonic
Adventures 2. I will go down and say was the best Sonic game ever done. Strong accusations, I know, but I will say that. I'm going on record. That was the best Sonic game ever done. You could find a way to redo that without copying the whole story. It was good. It was a good story. It was a good gameplay. and you had different characters that did different things, and it was still entertaining. So I will say Sonic Adventures 2, best Sonic video game. You can make that a movie. I'll go for that. I'll go for that to be a movie.
Yeah, I just think we don't need a movie that unless they have some really compelling script that they have or idea, but I seriously doubt that.
Well, that brings up a good thought, because I heard that like with certain intellectual properties, if you don't do a certain amount of things with it, you lose it.
You lose a license. Yeah. So it's
could this be a whole okay? You need to do a Sonic movie, or you lose a license.
Maybe, but I mean, what if they had a previous one, like an actual, or maybe it's something held over from. I mean, I remember enjoying the Sonic cartoon series growing up. Back in
Urkel being the voice.
Yeah. So
are we bringing Urkel? Are we bringing Jaleel White back to voice Sonic in this movie?
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe that's just the kid versus adult thing. Maybe the kids will really enjoy it. But from my standpoint,
that's the other thing I need to start getting. I need to get used to like certain things are for kids. I think I showed you like Thundercats reboot that they're coming out with.
The new one looks like trash.
Yeah, but
it's like the Powerpuff Girls meets Powderpuff Girls or whatever it was.
It was like Powerpuff Girls meet Adventure Time meets Thundercats. Like I don't know why they decided to do this, but we gotta realize that the art style. Things for kids is really things for kids, and every generation of kids is different. I think I'm starting to understand. This is a theory I had, and say I'm way off if you need to, but I think our society, being as sensitive as it is, with imagery and body shaming and so forth, I think they are trying to normalize certain characters that had a negative body type. So, for example, if you looked at the old anime style Thundercats, everyone had abs.
Really exaggerated physical features, especially in women.
Super exaggerated features, even the women. And now we're looking at this new style that's called whimsical.
Yeah.
And no one has a figure. Yeah. Everyone's the same figure. It's just blah.
I don't know. I guess there's they just took it to one far extreme. I think that.
But I'm seeing that with all the cartoons now. The Steven Universe, same thing. It's no one has defined features. More block shape, not that many curves anymore, except like one character has curves. But like I think they're trying to desexualize some of these characters, which in the past you saw these characters and you were like, oh, that's way too sexy for kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and things started getting weird. But yeah, I guess.
We went from Betty Boop, who was literally like the first sexualized animated character.
Right.
And then we went to Jessica Rabbit, which was way over sexualized.
Yeah, really confused a lot of us kids in the early '90s. I get it. I mean, it's just sometimes I think they. I'm just worried about storyline. Is it going to be too silly, over the top? Is it going to lose the feel of the original show? So I don't know. That remains to be seen.
So we'll see about this reboot. Have you seen? You used to watch Teen Titans when it came on?
Some, but not anything that I don't really have much of a background on it.
Let's see, because they came out with Tori Strong, which is one of the voices, the voice of Raven, just came out on Twitter the other day and said possible season 6 Teen Titans, but it depends on how Teen Titans Go the movie goes. Which Teen Titans Go, the series, has been getting a lot of backlash from the older nerd community, because they grew up on Teen Titans, the 2000 version, and it just wasn't that anymore. It was too jokey. It's very meta. It's almost like a Deadpool of DC now.
Yeah.
They joke on themselves and joke on studios, voice actors, so it's very meta. But now they're saying if you want this 6th season of the original Teen Titans show, go watch this. I feel like I'm being held hostage.
Yeah,
If I really want to see it.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Yeah, I agree.
I think the movie's still gonna do well. I don't think you need to tell people, oh yeah, if you want this old series, yeah, you need to go see it. But
yeah,
I think it's gonna work if you tell them anyway, because people are gonna go see it, and the trailers do look very meta. You got some Deadpool jokes in there, right in the trailer.
Right.
So, yep. So, we're getting close to wrap up time. I did want to ask you. So, including reboots, we have Power Rangers. Hasbro has announced that Power Rangers, they want to do a Power Ranger reboot. I didn't see nothing wrong with the original Power Ranger. The last one that came out.
The movie.
I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Was that 2016, 2017?
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah, I watched it and I enjoyed it. I was really concerned about it initially, and then I had fun with it.
I think the earlier set pictures and so forth definitely had me concerned. The way Rita was done originally had me concerned, but it worked with the story.
Yeah,
and I think them switching up some of the characters and changing some of them instead of Black Ranger being black and the Asian person being yellow.
Yeah.
I think that added a new element, and then we go right into, and then Billy being on the spectrum. I think that was cool, and at the same time very interesting to bring that to light. Mm-hmm. Like, this super smart kid is on the spectrum.
Yeah, and it wasn't a perfect movie by any shot, but it was fun. I liked it.
It wasn't bad enough to say, all right, scrap this, let's redo it.
Absolutely. I was really skeptical going into it, and I watched it. I didn't see it initially until it came out on Amazon. I watched it on Prime a couple months ago, and I liked it. I think for one, it's just fatigue of reboots. Stop rebooting things. And I think that it was a fun movie. Why wouldn't you just go from there, see what happens? I want to know who the Green Ranger is going to be in that universe.
Yeah.
They kind of left that on a cliffhanger at the end. And they made Rita Repulsa a fun character. They translated that reasonably well into a full-blown movie. They even made Zordon pretty neat. It's not just like a hologram face in a tube.
Oh no, yeah, they made him more relatable.
Yeah, and they got Bryan Cranston to do it, and a lot of people don't realize, but if you go way back...
Oh yeah, he was one of the voices of the monsters.
Yeah, he did multiple voices in the original series when, he was up and
what
coming
hasn't
actor.
Bryan Cranston done?
I even saw a reel one time where he did like a Preparation H commercial or something, like back in the early 90s or late 80s. So, but that's what a lot of actors who don't instantly become famous have to deal with. But no, I enjoyed it. I think if they change their tune and they're talking about a sequel, then I like the first one enough to where I may consider seeing the second one in theaters.
I don't know if Hasbro's the right company to do it.
No.
I just thought about it. We had G.I. Joe done by them.
I haven't seen any of the G.I. Joe movies because they look terrible.
Well, most of them are. They are terrible. And then I think they're a large portion of the Transformers. They've done the Transformer movies.
Yeah.
So that's a Hasbro production too. So and their track record right now has not got me having warm, fuzzy feelings for them to do a Power Ranger movie.
Yeah.
But, alright, so, wanted to play this game with you. And for those watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, what we came up with is doing random versus debate. So, we have a hat full of people's names, full of characters' names, and this is an all geekdom, so it's not just Marvel versus DC. It's anyone can be on it. It can be Rick from Rick and Morty. It can be Harry Potter. It can be Garfield. Whoever. It's going to be in this. These names are going to be in this hat. We're going to shake it up. We're going to pick a name, and whoever your character is, you got to debate and see who would win in a versus fight. 2 rules. 1, morality is off the table. We're not going to argue if they would kill each other or if they wouldn't kill each other. We're just going to go ahead and say it's a death battle.
Okay.
Next, we're based off of whatever timeline they're in. And you have to wholeheartedly fight for that character.
Okay.
no matter how stupid it is.
All right, let's give it a try.
Watch me get the dumbest character in the world after this.
Well, full disclosure, I don't know any of the names that have been put in the hat, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, this is going to be entertaining.
All right.
All right.
I'll go with this guy on top.
All right. All right, let's see.
I'm feeling good about mine.
I'm not feeling good about mine. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say who I got. I have Captain America, Secret Empire story. So if you don't know, Captain America and the Secret Empire story was Hydra. He was a Hydra agent, and he was raised by Hydra, and he pretty much took over the United States.
I got Harry Potter from the Deathly Hallows. So later, the later version, more mature and powerful version of Harry Potter, and I don't know. I mean, I think how do you come from? How do you have for all intents and purposes, a Nazi Captain America?
Yes, I'm fighting for a Nazi Captain America.
I mean, my guy's got magical powers. He can hit you from a mile away. He's just coming into understanding all of them. So, how are you going to even get close to me?
I'm a Hydra Captain America. I'm a Nazi, and I've been fighting for you. That's powerful acting skills. Well, first off, Nazi isn't the proper word. He was Hydra. Hydra did leave the Nazi. Did leave the Nazi party, but this Captain America was the king of spies. He was literally a character that went through all of his whole publication history, and you were saying he was a Hydra agent the whole time.
Yeah.
And he was fighting for the American way. He got everyone to believe him. He was a super tactician. So if I'm looking at the tactician of Captain America with an indestructible shield at the same time, I don't know if your spells are coming through that easily. I think I got a stronger fight, and my guy actually knows how to throw a punch.
True.
Your guy knows how to throw a wand. That's about it. I get a right hook in, it's over.
I don't know. I think the only way you're going to get close to me is if I didn't know it to begin with, and you infiltrate Hogwarts and come after me when I least expect it. But if I see you coming, you're not going to get close.
Hedge fight, like, how many spells do you have that's really going to push back? Or even kill? How many people did he even kill?
So but you're talking about, we said ahead of time, you're taking the morality out.
I'm taking morality out, but I'm looking at kill count now. If I look at kill count, my guy has killed some people.
True.
He's killed Black Widow, or he didn't kill Black Widow. He had Black Widow assassinated. He was depowered Thor. He was able to get Dr. Octopus on his side. He was able to defeat all the X-Men just by speaking to him. That's some skills right there. Yeah. I don't know if you got anything in your magic wand.
But if you take the morality out of Harry Potter, it doesn't matter if you're a mile away or if you're right next to me. As long as I say Avada Kedavra before you hit me or throw something at me or shoot me, you're gone. Unless you try and unless we really want to combine universes and you try and argue that vibranium can bounce a spell back towards somebody.
I mean, indestructible. I don't know if it'll bounce a spell back off.
Yeah.
But I don't know if a spell is going to get through vibranium.
I don't know.
We haven't seen anything, because vibranium has been known to divert magic. We've had T'Challa use it against Dr. Doom. And Dr. Doom is one of those guys who's like a 5th level wizard or something. He's been able to use it against him. He's used it against Doctor Strange. Vibranium has been used against a lot of things. That's pretty much like the ultimate cheat code.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be a heck of a combo to see how they would play that out on screen or in a comic book. But I'm holding firm that the only way that your version of Captain America could take out Harry Potter would be if you somehow infiltrated, got close to him without him knowing that you were a villain, which I will admit happened many times in the Harry Potter movies. So yeah, there's a chance, but I don't know.
He's gonna see his blonde hair and blue eyes and be like, oh, he's not no threat, and then come bam. I mean, throwing the shield, it could probably mess up Harry Potter. I don't think Harry Potter has the physique.
No.
To really hang with Captain America.
Yeah.
So, he has the spells, but I don't even think at this point he's utilized that many spells and been successful in fights.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'll concede that unless old Harry Potter is able to get a certain phrase out of his mouth, Captain America would be able to take him.
And I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I don't even know what the spell does unless it's like instant death right there.
Yeah, it would be. Well, if he were to break all the rules, if you're taking morality out of it, take a totally different Harry Potter with no morals, then yeah, I mean, all he'd have to do would be to say Avada Kedavra, and
it has no consequences to the user.
Instant death, no consequences. Well, you could argue, I guess, that over time, if he did that enough, he would, kind of start turning to that dark side of the powers. But I don't know. It is an unforgivable thing in that Harry Potter universe. So I don't know. I think it's a big toss up of what ifs. So, but I think in a normal situation, and especially if you kept the characters as they are in comic books or in the movies or in the books, then yeah, Harry Potter would be out pretty quickly because he's not going to kill the evil version of Captain America. That's against his rules. Captain America would kill with no issues.
This version of Captain America, there was a lot of questions on whether he was evil or not. Because he was raised by Hydra.
Right.
But the concept was to unify the people under one banner instead of unifying under several different banners, which isn't an evil concept. But he did use methods that seemed a little distasteful.
Yeah.
So.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, tell us what you think. See if anyone want to weigh in on the battle. Evil Hydra Captain America versus Harry Potter from Deathly Hallows. Tell us what you think in the comments down below. If you listen to the podcast, you can always go on our Facebook and let us know. But other than that, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
We'll have another one next week. Stay tuned for episode 2, and this will be on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes podcasts, and we're going to get on Google Play too. We're working on all the kinks for that. So other than that, my name is Don, Geek Philosophy.
Clay McDonald.
And we will see y'all later. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for stopping by Geek Philosophy. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, put your philosophies in the comments, and also hit that subscribe button so you can be notified of all future videos. Thanks for stopping by Geek Philosophy, the geek way of thinking.